Hi, my name is Alex Grossman, and you're listening to episode 86 of the Who's on Top podcast.
Welcome back to episode 86 Who's on Top podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Fox. Boy, do we have a lot to get to today. We have the greatest quarterback, the greatest player in history, a career after 22 seasons. We've got NFL championship roundup, some more great games. But before we get into that, let us meet our analysts. First, coming to us from Rutgers University, the Joe Buck of women's college basketball. He's doing a little pregame this weekend. He is the jack of all trades, Ellis Gordon.
What's good, guys? Thanks, Dan, for the lovely introduction.
Of course, gotta shout you out, man. And second, sports gambling insider. His grandparents gave him a boatload of money for a reason. CDK, Jacob Kasdan.
What's up, guys? Let's talk some sports. And as we know, that is not true. I use my own money, not my
your bank account would show something different.
And you want to see it?
We don't have time for that. And our guest filling in for Jeremy Giles, who was at a rush event or something. I don't read his text. Alex Grossman, also coming to us from Syracuse.
Thank you so much for having me. I would just like to mention I do have my own podcast. It's called The Commencement. I do it with a friend here at Syracuse. But of course, to any listeners, if you only have time to listen to one podcast, you can remain with this one. I don't want to take your listeners away from you. So
we can share.
Already a better guest than Adam Lefko. All right, let's move on to the NBA roundup, the tip-off. Jacob, let's get it started.
Yeah, so last week in basketball, pretty electric week for the Ja Morant. Him and the Grizzlies have been on a tear. Ja's averaging above 35 points a game in the last 8 games. He scored he's a lock. He's the lock of the day for gambling purposes. 26.5 points over every day in the last 10 games. Insane. Cavaliers, some surprises this year. They're the 3 seed in the East, just beating up on teams left and right. And Adra, you want to take over the rest of the tip-off for basketball?
Well, so you have the Brooklyn Nets, who, it's been a very competitive Eastern Conference. They've dropped down to 6th place now. So just barely in there, out of the play-in tournament. Our Knicks have not looked quite the same as last year. Maybe they'll turn it around because
this Randall's a bum.
Yeah, there's a bunch of issues with the team right now, and we'll have to see what happens with that. You have the Phoenix Suns, who are just
annihilating opponents,
they're
destroying everyone.
Yeah,
Devin Booker also, like Ja Morant's been going electric this week.
Yeah, everyone on that team is just contributing. It's really great to watch. You have Obi Toppin, who was named to the dunk contest, which is very exciting, along with some other guys too. And something that I don't agree with personally, Andrew Wiggins was named an all-star starter. So yeah, there's that. So
yeah, overall great week in the NBA front. Now on to Ellis with college basketball.
Yeah, first let's update you quickly on the standings before we get into the games. Duke hops the surprising Canes in the ACC, excuse me. So they're now in first. In the Big 12, Kansas, despite a shock blowout loss to Kentucky, stays in first. Baylor in second. That's going to be contentious 1-2. The Big East, which has been probably the best conference so far in college basketball because of how close it is. Providence still holds on to that 1-game lead over Villanova, but Marquette and UConn at 3 and 4 respectively are catching up to the 1-2. And St. John's and Seton Hall, despite starting off hot, are both struggling a little bit, to say the least. In the Big Ten, Wisconsin continues their surprising season at first, but tied with them are Michigan State, Illinois, and then Purdue's a half game out, and they have been super hot, just beating Ohio State on a Jaden Ivey step back 3. And lastly, in the Pac-12, UCLA leapfrogs Arizona after their commanding victory Of course, Arizona only a half game out and have the best offense so far in college basketball, statistics wise. But right now, UCLA leaves, and then of course in the SEC, Kentucky making waves. But I mean, man, the story of the season has been number 1 ranked Auburn, 20-1. They almost suffered an upset against Missouri, but they didn't. They have one of the easiest schedules remaining. They look like the favorites to win it all. But Kentucky and Tennessee both deserve their respective shout outs. And then Houston, of course, is leading, but despite them having an easy conference, they're 18-2.
And Ellis, you can't forget Gonzaga as well.
Yes, Gonzaga, but they're always amazing and they're always leading.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
so today in games, Michigan State knocks off Maryland on a buzzer beater. Maryland struggling to even make the Big Ten tournament at this point, so they're out of the NCAA tournament. Rutgers, after halftime, they had a 99.8% chance to lose. They fight back, tied up at half, but they end up losing in overtime at 1. So losing by 1 in overtime. So that pretty much knocks off their NCAA tournament chances unless they win the Big Ten tournament. I talked about that Purdue Ohio State game. Ohio State with that crazy last 3-minute comeback, but Jaden Ivey, who has been one of the best players in all of college ball, step back tray, ice in his veins, Mackey Arena going wild. And then Duke took down Notre Dame. Baylor takes down West Virginia in a matchup that was closer than I think most people thought. And I think that is it for this week's major slate of games, other than the Kentucky-Kansas game.
Wake Forest.
Nobody cares.
Buddy Bam at 30 points. ACC player of the week.
Okay, in fairness, Giannis did come to that game.
And Giannis was there.
I'll give you the clout.
I'm in his Instagram post in the bottom right corner.
Are you really?
In my Giants hoodie. Yeah, you can see
I'll check that out. But anyway, now on to a little more serious news in the tip-off than we normally cover. Mason Greenwood plays soccer for Man United, considered top 5 up-and-coming youngsters. Allegations rose out that he domestically abused his girlfriend. Of course, he had a bit of an issue with the COVID policy. He broke COVID rules and got kicked off the England team back 2 years ago. But, all young kids could do this. This is obviously way more serious. His girlfriend posted really horrifying pictures on Instagram of her face all gashed up. I don't recommend you seeing that. Horrible. He should be immediately kicked off the team. An investigation has been underway. He's been suspended from all teams' practices. Most likely it's true. Most likely he'll be kicked off the team. Just horrible, horrible news. Prayers go out to his girlfriend and hope she's okay. She seems to be okay though. But yeah, Mason Greenwood throwing away what would have been probably an amazing soccer career because he is a horrible human being. So yeah, that is my part of the tip off. Dan, you got retirements?
So we had a couple QB retirements. Obviously, they weren't on the same level. We'll start with Big Ben Roethlisberger calling it a career. It wasn't as bad as he looked at it. He had a great career. We shit on him at the end of his career because he couldn't throw the ball more than 10 yards down the field. But not everyone ages as well as the next guy we're going to talk about. Big Ben, 2-time Super Bowl winner, among the leaders in passing yards, touchdowns, Pro Bowler. Had some great clutch moments. One of the most unique, I was watching his top 50 moments of all time, and it's just, a lot of it is just no one improvised like him. You don't think of him as like a guy like Mahomes or Jackson running around in the pocket, but he would just bounce off guys and make these crazy throws. Yeah. In his prime, he was a super exciting player to watch. So great career, Big Ben. Obviously, some off the field stuff, sort of diminish his legacy, but in his prime, he was one hell of a quarterback.
I gotta say also that only probably quarterback you'll see with a top 50 play that includes a tackle.
Exactly. That was underrated play. One of the most underrated plays you'll ever see. If you're not familiar with what Ellis was referring to, Jerome Bettis, AFC divisional round, up 3 against the Colts, was going in for what would have been the game-stealing touchdown. He fumbles. Colts going to run it back, score a touchdown. But Ben Roethlisberger starts running backwards, turns his hips perfectly, way better than I do when I'm covering Blake Gordon, and gets a hand on the foot, trips him up, and saves the game because Mike Vanderjagt would miss the game-time field goal. But enough about Big Ben. Obviously, we have to talk about some sad news. Tom Brady retired from the sport of football today. He was just 44 years old. Obviously, I've gone through all, the phases, emotional devastation, questioning the purpose of life. Just a really sad day. But I want to address. We'll give Tom Brady the time he deserves. In the
How do you feel about
offseason.
Giselle? Dan.
I said this is a Giselle Slander podcast, but you know what Giselle did when Brady met Giselle in 2007? He said, "I'm going to play 10 more years and win one Super Bowl," and he played 15 more years and won 4 Super Bowls. So Giselle was getting a little impatient. But I want Tom Brady to play, and if he's going to play, I want his heart to be into it 100%. And but before I get interrupted again, let me address where my fandom will lie. And the answer is nowhere. I never want to root for a team that does not have Tom Brady as his quarterback, because I have seen in my 11 years watching football, I've seen
For the rest of your life, you're not going to root for a team?
No, let me get into that. Stop interrupting me. So in my 11 years watching football, I've seen 4 Super Bowls, 4 Super Bowl wins, 6 Super Bowls in all. The greatest moments, the greatest comebacks. I've seen greatness that you guys can't even understand. You see it from the sidelines. I see it from
The sidelines.
Yeah, I see
You
it
also see it from the sidelines.
But we all see it from the sidelines. Nobody can ever I've seen the pinnacle of the sport. And I can never root for anybody, because who's going to top Tom Brady? Someone wins the Super Bowl and MVP every year. They didn't do it when I was a teenager and when I was really into football and when my sports fandom was at the highest. So I'm not going to root for Mac Jones to come in and, so here's what's going to happen for the foreseeable future until maybe I get over this. I've seen everything I need to see. There's nothing more I want to see out of.
Bro, it's not like he died. Relax, you fucking.
I don't.
Girl.
Can you listen to me? I don't need to see any more championships. I was saying when I was watching the Bucks this year, I've lost the fire. I've lost really the intensity when I watch football, because I've just seen everything. So for the next years, I want my friends to win championships. Okay, I'll root for the Bills, Jets, Giants. All right, I'm serious. You can hold me to this. That's why we're doing this on the podcast. I want, I'm going to do it half-heartedly and half-assed, and the only thing I'll be full-ass about is Aaron Rodgers being a fucking bum and never winning anything. That's what I'll be really intense about. But I'm going to be an impartial football observer, football analyst. I don't need to, force myself to root for Mac Jones and Ramondre Stevenson. Yeah, Ellis, I would give you a damn good speech at your funeral. I would not. No one can replace you, just like no one can replace Tom Brady. That's where I go moving forward. Obviously, I'm glad that we'll get more into this later, but I'm glad Brady is an immortal. We never saw him age. He only got better with age. I never wanted to see him when he was trash and throwing the ball like Big Ben. We saw him. He went out his best. He went out on his own terms, and that's what greats do.
I mean, you kind of summed it up. I mean, I'm not going to clown him here because I want to be professional a little bit. But I did a little on Twitter. Oh, tricky.
I picked out a couple of very interesting players for today.
Basketball.
Okay.
All right.
I think they'll be able to tell by what stats we tell them. But all right.
They're not going to get this.
You want to go first and talk about the first player? Okay, I will do both.
Two players. What sport?
What stats do you want me to read?
What sport?
Basketball.
It's basketball.
2 players. Points, assists, rebounds, that kind of stuff. Field goal percentage. That seems sufficient.
All right, yeah. Okay. Player 1 is at 18.3 points per game, 4.3 rebounds, 2.1 assists, 48.7, 41.6, and 67.1. Is this line? That was a lot of numbers.
Yeah, I got it. It's my head.
Got it?
Yeah, keep on going.
All right. And then we have 18.4, 3.2, 2.1, shooting percentages, 45.4, 40.4, and 80.2 from the
How much does he score a week again? Second player?
18.4.
They both score 18?
1 is 18.
Both are on
8.
Oh, jeez. 18 points. That's a weird zone because you can get people that are shockingly good. DeMar is scoring more than that. Zach LaVine, one of them?
No.
Yeah, give me the conference and guard or forward. So I need a little more.
I would say they're both sort of shooting guard / small forward.
Okay, and then
They're
conference.
both in the
West. Okay.
In the Western Conference.
18 points. Wiggins is one with 18 points.
You are
the
correct.
first one.
All-star
Okay.
starter Andrew Wiggins.
Okay, let me think about it. Shea is another.
Nope. He's averaging way more than 18.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said that. That's dumb. Fuck. Is he okay? Wait. Let me get one more pick and then I'm gonna. We already used DeJounte Murray, so it can't be him.
It's not him.
Yeah, I know
Darius
that.
Garland.
He's not.
No, down the
West
West,
Conference.
dummy.
West. I was
Donovan Mitchell. No, he's doing more than that. Give me top 8 or bottom 8 teams.
Bottom.
Bottom. Okay. No way. Is this Dame?
Nope.
One more, and then I give
You're
up.
getting very
You're
close.
getting very close to
McCollum.
CJ McCollum.
Nope.
No, still very close.
It's on the Blazers.
Without looking at
same city.
Without looking at the roster, they're not gonna get it.
Who has the same stats?
Nurkic.
No.
Nurkic.
He's
Covington.
a guard, Ellis.
You're right.
No.
Covington.
Wow,
I actually got
Who is it?
Anthony Simons.
No.
Oh, I was sure on that one. I don't know who it is. Who is it?
Really? It's Norman Powell.
Damn it.
Never.
That.
We're never-
You didn't even know he was on the Blazers.
That's good. No, I knew he was on the Blazers. I knew that.
I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah,
they have identity.
That is interesting. That's really interesting. But anyway, that's a great stat track. I could not get that last one. I thought I had Simons. I thought I really did. But let us quickly wrap it up as our Zoom session comes to an end. We miss Jeremy and his premium Zoom in these times like these. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Our YouTube, Who's on Top? WHO_S space ON space TOP. Like, subscribe, comment. We don't post full episodes there. We post highlights. You can see our beautiful faces. And Fox, just kidding. Fox is the beautifulest of them all. Social media, Instagram and Twitter, What.podcast and What.podcast, capital WOT.PODCAST for both of them. Twitter, I sometimes post game reactions, but usually I post when the new podcast is out. Plus, you can use the link in our bio to see that. Plus, I post stats of our predictions games. Right now, we're in week 4 of 10. This will be week 5 by the time this episode comes out. Instagram, we post face shops, polls, stuff like that, Photoshop polls, stuff like that. And you can use the link in our bio to see when our new episodes are out and go follow both of those. Podcasts, we're on all platforms but Amazon Podcasts. Fuck you, Jeff Bezos. But yeah, same thing. Who's on Top? Like, subscribe, turn notifications bell. We're always on the weekend, but we're still a tiny bit inconsistent. We're sorry for that, but that way you'll never miss an episode of the podcast. Shout out, our Super Bowl episode is going to be next week. Big hype for that. That's our 3rd Super Bowl episode. Our first 2 went really good, so we do special stuff for that. All right, that's it. Thank you, Alex, for joining. Go listen to the commencement. Have a great week. Have a great week. Hope you enjoy the podcast. Vaccines out. Stay safe. Stay healthy, and goodbye.
Goodbye.